The linear perspective was first used in ancient Greece, but there were no records or explanations of how to use it. Centuries on, this perspective hasn't been used because people didn't know how to, and it is no surprise that this perspective was later rediscovered in Italy at the time of the Renaissance. The Humanism and Renaissance were the cultural and scientific epochs in which people would seek knowledge and inspiration in the ancient Greek culture. They were turning back to the ancient models. In the 15th century, in Florence, Filippo Brunelleschi rediscovered the linear perspective, and a few years later, the Alberti documented it in the book called On Painting. Florence was the cultural center of Italy at the time. Art was flourishing under the patronage of rich people. A lot of money was being in art and sciences, so artists had time to explore new techniques and dedicate themselves only to making art pieces. Before this movement, there were some other ways in making a kind of perspective on the painting, but none were precise as this one. The linear perspective is innovative because its usage of strict mathematical rules to determine the size of the objects in the distance, making an illusion of depth within a painting. This perspective also enabled more realistic detail of movement for the bodies on the painting and created a new relationship between the viewer and the painting. There are three basic elements of the linear perspective: vanishing point, horizontal lines, and orthogonal lines. The horizontal line was used as a center of a painting to help in making of a deeper perspective, but also to emphasize what is most important on the image, event, or a person. All other lines would lead to the one vanishing point in the center. Using our picture of the street, the hoods of the cars serve as the best example of horizontal lines. Orthogonals are receding parallel lines. In this case, the rows of cars, buildings, and trees serve as orthogonal lines. Using the example of the bridge and building collaboration picture, the vanishing point is created by the ending of the bridge and the visible end of the series of buildings vanishing in the distance with the side of the bridge. Many artists of the time used this new technique, an example being Raphael. Raphael painted the School of Athens painting using these techniques. The heads of the people serve as the horizontal lines, and the column ledges, along with the narrowing floor, serve as orthogonal lines. The vanishing point is given to the center of the two men dressed in blue and orange, standing side by side. One of the paintings we have discussed in class that heavily uses one-point perspective is Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. The vanishing point is Jesus himself, along with the window that is behind him. It portrays him as the significant figure of the piece. The rugs hanging along the walls, as well as beams and wall edges, serve as orthogonal lines. The clear horizontal line is the table at which the figures in the painting are sitting at. Another thing to point out in the painting is the use of thirds within the painting. There are 3 windows along the back wall, as well as 3 crests painted above the piece. The rule of 3 symbolizes the Holy Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.